The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host, in the midst of a apple bouillabase. Yes, I'm kind of in the apple stew, just like the rest of us are out here, all hanging on every word, because, of course, without apple, our lives would be without meaning. If you at least listen to some people, I don't know, I've always been appled out, and I guess it's one of those things where if you see how sausage is made or you know how a movie's made, sometimes it's a lot of the magic is gone. And since I know I pretty much have to put on about 4 or 5 layers of aluminum foil when I listen to Apple to make sure that their thought control doesn't get to me, I'm always kind of down because of the almost the people that are so easily affected by the Jedi mind tricks. There's a great product that they have, and they've sold more of it than anybody else in the world, and that's all good and fine. We need to separate that between the stock and the stock and the company itself. But we also need to understand that eventually everything that goes up can go back down. Now, whether that's 10 minutes from now or 10 years from now, we always as traders need to be in reality. And that is extremely hard because we have a few things going against us. There's probably no stock that's closer to politics than Apple. They sent a great deal of their people out in the mid-90s to get into politics, to show people how to manipulate the landscape and the thoughtscape. They pretty much, from about 1981, 82, Steve Jobs got very heavily in propaganda, read everything, starting with Mr. Goebbels from our Nazis in the 30s and 40s, about how to manipulate the press, how to cajole them, how to move them. I'm not saying Steve Jobs was a Nazi. That he looked through history, though, and saw how you could convince a bunch of people how to kill, I don't know, 6 or 7 million of its own people just because didn't quite like them. But that kind of power, if it were me, I would probably give the guy a bonus that decided to go back and look at it. So I'm not saying that they're evil. They went to just anyone, it didn't matter how evil they were, to think about how you can manipulate the press. And back in those days, especially the early days, from about 1981 on, with the advent of Guy Kawasaki, they came up with a lot of things on how to manipulate both your customer and the press. And part of that was a thing called evangelism. That was find a bunch of pimply-faced kids that are in their basement, make them feel incredibly important, and then if anybody ever says anything online, now in blogs, against them, viciously attack them. Make these people our own, part of our tribe, and make sure that they can't say one thing without them being called any number of a bunch of things. Small-minded, racist, bigot, homophobe. That's what's used in politics. What we do know, though, is in the tech world, it's more about you're just not cool. Okay, grandpa, you just don't get it. It's different this time. And it's all about that. But I've got all the levels of aluminum foil on to reject their reality and insert real reality if we can find it. So we're going to be talking about a few of those things out here today. And I think we're seeing some effects some of the things I've been talking about, but we will continue on. Of course, the meeting is not over. Apple was up about $2 last time I looked. Let's take a quick look at here. 128.12. It's up $1.58. It was up about $2. Yeah, it was up to 129.57. And Apple doesn't have a big tendency for it to run on these rollouts as much as they have a big tendency to run into the actual ship date. That date will be the first week of April. So we're about 30 days from that. But look, a couple days in front of that, people will start buying in front of it. And of course, a dutiful press who, for the most part, loves living in San Francisco and doesn't want to go up to Redmond, Washington, or anywhere else, is more than willing to excoriate those outside the Apple world. It's just too easy for them not to have to go anywhere or do anything or go up to Seattle or they've created an ecosystem. And it's not by just chance. Like I said, this goes back to about 1981, and Guy Kawasaki's probably written about 10 books about Apple marketing. He kind of the first guy to get into how to manipulate the press. I tell this story often and why I'm such a disbeliever in anything Apple says. I wait until and see what they do and actually try to get my hands on products and find out what they're all about. Very early on, I went to an Apple deal at Moscone Center in San Francisco. I don't know when it was. It had to be about 1980. Was it 86? I think it was 86, maybe 85. And I just happened to be in the town for something else. I had no business with Apple. But I wanted to go down and see what the deal was. I actually had traveled out there with a good friend of mine that was a restaurant and hotel manager. And hang on a second, I could sneeze. I'm back from sneezing. But he was a restaurant manager. Actually, was the guy when the Skyways in the Marriott collapsed in downtown Kansas City, when the 200 people were killed in that hotel when the skywalks fell down. But anyway, we were out there having a good time and going through some stuff. But he was more interested in, of course, talking to the people in the banquet department that rented all the different rooms, and he was talking to him for a while, and he was young, but I think he at that time thought maybe he might move out there, never did, but wanted to see what business was like. Anyway, he talked to him, and I came up then when he was talking to the big cheese and found out that Apple had actually rented 4 different rooms of 4 different sizes, depending on how many people showed up and were in line were the ones that they were going in. They wanted to make sure that it was about 20% of the people couldn't get in, so that there was a big long line going out the door and everybody had to crowd inside like it was a big deal. In the end, they ended up taking I think the 3rd largest room, but I always wondered what they would have done if they couldn't have filled up the first room. I don't think that was a problem. But, anyway, manipulation of reality is what Apple is all about. To further their goals. And of course, us as stock traders, reality should be great. We should know if we're in a bubble. We should know whether or not there's any reality to the earnings. Probably because if we have to worry about the stock falling in half the next day, then maybe we want to day trade it, not hold it overnight. We all know those kind of stocks. Apple is not one of those anymore. But certainly with it being 13 or 14% of the NASDAQ 100, there's nothing more than important than knowing that if we get a bounce out of this, that it's going to lift pretty much all the boats. Now, when we talk about that, we had one of the lowest of volume opens this morning that we've had all year. And in fact, back probably till December, at least for the first 30 minutes. We're up almost 10 points on the S&P cash at 2081 with just over 2 billion shares. So kind of getting back into that light volume mood of last week and up. And of course, The question is, I'm pretty sure I think we've got a market setup where this market wants to gap up and test whether or not it can boil a few shorts off. If it can get to those folks and get a fire burning, maybe they can get a little short squeeze running. But I'm not exactly sure what that information is going to be. I suspect it's going to be something with the dollar. I think we're going to see a little intervention from the government. Right now, dollar index holding steady at 97.68 without a lot of movement. Of course, gold up a little, but of course, gold miners, especially the juniors, down. And I don't see a whole lot to say that something I've been talking about 9 months ago or a year ago, maybe by now, just how poorly these junior miners are out. We've got the JDST up, almost 13%. And it's not incredible to see just how heaven and hell these things can be at a price point that does not change that much. Anyway, we always got to get to a little history to start off the show, and then we'll get into...
Well, it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
On this day in 2000, the NASDAQ Composite Index closes above 5,000 for the first time, finishing the day at 5046.86, up 149 points in a mere 48 trading days after breaking through the 4,000 barrier. And that is what a bubble is. Famed technical analysis Ralph Alcampora of Prudential predicts that the NASDAQ will hit 6,000 in 12 to 18 months. 1 year after his prediction, the NASDAQ has lost 59% and shriveled to 2052.78. One of the true signs of a high is ludicrous and insane predictions, especially in a bubble. And Ralph was kind of pretty much the king cheese of that. Didn't hear much after him about it because he was kind of a laughing stock. But of course, he made a bunch of cash and was, if I'm not remembering wrong, I think he was busy selling all the calls to hit 6,000, but was selling with all his hands and feet and toes, anything he could hit a sell button with. But I'll have to go back and look at that. I kind of vaguely remember the whole aftermath with his massive call at the highs. Of course, he wasn't the only one out there basically drinking the Kool-Aid, but a good indication of why we should have our feet based in reality. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. That's 877-927-6648. You can also email me at path@tfnn.com. And, of course, post a message in the den if you want me to look at something. We'll be back, and then we'll be going through the news.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Check out the new look of Tiger TV. Now you can see all hosts, charts, and computer screens live in high definition. Whether it's Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, David White, Larry Pesavento, Andy Hecht, Thinkorswim, or Terrell Martin, you can catch all of our technicians hosting their programs live and archived on Tiger TV. Now, crystal clear in high definition, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you haven't seen the new look of Tiger TV, then visit TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Technomental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Technomental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Technomental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com.
You've always taken the long view when it comes to investing, but what if there's an opportunity right under your nose? What if you could be more responsive to market trends to seek to boost your portfolio performance right now while seeking to reduce your overall risk? At Direction Funds, we connect investors with alternative strategies that seek to maximize their returns. Smart investors deserve smart alternatives. Find yours at directionfunds.com. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risk charges, and expenses of Direction Funds carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Funds. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact the Direction Funds at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. Investing in index funds may be more volatile than investing in broadly diversified funds. Distributed by Rafferty Capital Markets, LLC.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And you got a question in the den. Please tell us your favorite battery investment. I have none. There is no time where I've seen a Moore's law for chemicals. They are all incredibly evolutionary. The difference is semiconductors, basically drop in half in size and double in capacity every 18 months. Chemicals, not so much. If you get a 10% better battery in 2 years, you're doing a yeoman's work. And that is the problem. They're still too heavy. They're still, 10%, 10%, 10%. You're probably getting close, but batteries always have one major drawback, and that is they are a chemical reaction, and that chemical reaction is problematic long-term for sulfating the batteries, for corroding the anode and cathode of the battery. And I just don't know. In fact, I spent a huge amount of my own money trying to do a startup for large batteries. They would have been in basically the similar containers that propane came in. If you've seen those giant 500 and 1,000 gallon propane tanks that litter the flyover country in the Midwest and next to all kinds of mobile homes and places where it's not easy either to get natural gas or cheap electricity. Some places it's very cheap to get propane. I was going to use something like that, just have it towed there, and solar cells would have charged these things overnight. And all the technology I was looking at was how could we vibrate the plates in these to get rid of the sulfate, and how could we have kind of a self-cleaning oven. And I spent a huge amount of money. In fact, I'd have another house with the kind of money. And I hired some pretty smart engineers, chemical engineers, to try to think out of the box and do it. And to this point, I still don't know anybody that has a self-cleaning anode, cathode, and anti-sulfating type of battery. I always thought that there might be something. I couldn't find it with my money. Maybe someone else can find it, but my guess is not. It is a byproduct. There's always a byproduct of that, and my belief is, BS degree chemical engineering. Well, what do you think? I've got somebody let's post a message or call in with your belief out here of that. I didn't have a chemical engineering degree, but basically the idea was a self-cleaning oven kind of large battery for solar cells, and it just looked like there was never any way of getting the plaque off. Kind of the equivalent of going to your dentist. You think that if there was an easy way to get the plaque off your teeth with some kind of mouthwash that they would have invented. Someone would have invented it a long time ago. The problem is that plaque just builds up, and that is a problem. Question in the den. Yes, we can ask Bill Nye, but he's been wrong so much. Dave, I don't see battery technology really advancing. It's all been talked for decades. I'm waiting for supercapacitors, exactly what I'm waiting for, or something else. There are some other people in some battery technology, and you're probably going to see it in the military, and these are called aluminum air batteries. Literally, the aluminum decays in the battery, and you can charge them. And the Carnegie Mellon people basically have what I was working on. That was a magnesium battery, just making the chemicals incredibly cheap, but they still were problematic. All these things are always super efficient, and then you find out they can't be manufactured, and or they have to have some incredibly beautiful condition to be charged. And if you even vary off of a percent, suddenly they're totally sulfated. Chemicals are just horrible to work with, where, something like a lot of people are talking about aluminum air batteries. And I guess that would be the only other thing out there. I just can't see us using up aluminum as a way of having a battery that would still have to be replaced, by the way. So I'm still problematic. As we do this, the headlines coming across the wire are, look, a typical day you can expect about 18 hours of battery life on the iWatch. People not very happy about having to take off the iWatch at night, put it back on in the morning, and forget about it. What can you say? We'll be back in just a minute. There is...
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN, and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, it's hard to tell if the economy is coming or going. Regardless, I want my money going in the direction I choose. If that's your stance as well, then you want to know how Everbank can help keep your money thriving just the way you want. Is growing your money a priority? Everbank is committed to a yield pledge promise to pay high yields on your checking, money market, and CD balances. Looking to diversify? Everbank ingeniously developed accessible ways to spread your money around the world into foreign currencies and even non-FDIC insured metals. And when it comes to your wealth, they bring a highly experienced and global perspective to help you manage it. Everbank's financial philosophy flies in the face of the status quo. They believe your money's performance should not be determined by today's economic circumstances, but by the drive to rise above them and create opportunities that favor your objectives. If that excites you, like it does me, call 1-855-750-4051 to find out what they can do for you. That's 1-855-750-4051. Call them today. Everbank is a member FDIC and equal housing lender.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we were going to break, you had 2 news items at pretty much the same time breaking as I'm watching the news feeds out here. One was that the battery life would be about 18 hours, which is not new. Everybody pretty much in Silicon Valley has known that since the last rollout.
Fascinating.
Well, not so fascinating. But what was new was the price points for the stainless steel watch. They're getting into the ones for the gold ones now. And, of course, Apple took a nice little hit off that and kind of brought the market back with it, too. So I'm going to assume that it was that price point. I think they, of course, the standard, Mr. Standard iWatch, are they just calling it the Apple Watch or iWatch? I haven't been able to find out from everything I'm watching and reading yet. They're just saying Apple Watch. So maybe it's not an iWatch. But everybody's been calling it that for forever, so who knows. The things that are probably most interesting that are coming out is the price point for the gold watch. And, of course, they've said that they've come out with some wonderful new amalgam of gold that still qualifies as 18 karat, but is much tougher. So who knows about that. Other interesting things out there, the MacBook Pro is their thinnest ever. Unfortunately, it's not thinner than a bunch of other people who've already made thinners. They're also saying it uses 30% less power. And, of course, that is thankful to Intel. They haven't really changed anything that made it 30% less powerful, or I mean less power hungry. That's pretty much all on the back of the Apple, but they don't even mention they've got Intel inside, if you notice. Other things out here are probably most interesting to me, post Apple, or I don't know if it's post, but certainly we've got new bond numbers out show that even Bill Gross's new fund is starting to see exits, of course, continual exits from the fund that he was at previously. The dollar index, like I said, not doing anything. Gold, it was off a little bit, but we'll get into some other stocks here, and I'll try to talk about anything that comes by the news feed as we talk. But I'm going to say they don't like that super expensive price on the stainless steel version, thinking that maybe they were hoping that, maybe it was an extra $100 and people would pay up, for an extra $5 in manufacturing, pay $100. The question is whether someone's going to pay $200 or $300 for the stainless steel version and all these very expensive watch bands. The other thing is, how can you make a watch band that everybody else isn't going to knock off fairly quickly? It doesn't sound to me like it's going to be that tough to knock off a watch band for one of these iWatches. And they're trying one on right now. See if there's anything else. 359 finishes and colors, and maybe that's it. Maybe there is nothing else. Everybody thought that there would be maybe another big announcement at the end of the day, but I can't watch it live here. But I am watching the live blog from Amalgam on a website, and I don't see anything else out here. We talked last week. In fact, I talked with Tom O'Brien in the Tech Insider Hour on Friday, and that is the idea of the killer app for this product. I still haven't seen it. And my boss once told me, and I believed him, and continued to make 3 other products like it, that if you're designing a product, it should be a rifle shot. It should not be a shotgun. And we talked about it, I think even on this show on Thursday, about Apple really not having the killer app for the Macintosh in 1986 and just about ready to go broke when Aldous came in with PageMaker and basically saved their bacon, made a huge product. Apple not only sold the Macintosh, but was able to sell an incredibly expensive Apple laser writer that was about $1,000 more than anybody else had. But of course, if you wanted it to work with Aldous, you had to have it work with the Mac. It had to be that one laser printer. That was solved a couple of years later, but the first couple of years, there was no end to the amount of people that had to buy basically way overpriced laser printers at the time. It wasn't that they were bad. It was just, I think they were all designed by Kyocera at the time. Kyocera was selling the exact same thing, minus all the PostScript stuff to other folks at the time for at least $1,200 or $1,300 less. So Apple was able to make a huge, highly profitable item. Didn't sell anywhere near the world of PCs, but kind of an interesting thing to come out and look at. Lumber Liquidators continues to get hammered out here. It looked like for a minute that they were going to be able to hold some of their prices. And this brings me back to politics once again. Of course, we had a senator down here in Florida decide to pile on to the Lumber Liquidators deal. And you always wonder, was this a payback for some other political thing? Was it real? Did he really care about it? And of course, he basically asked the government to look into additional problems after they got hammered so big by that 60 Minutes deal. And it's been nothing but down since then, hit $28.14. The problem with these kinds of stock moves are, as we talked about last week, is once you get past about, let me put it this way. Statistics work fairly well about 75% of the time in the stock market. The problem is the last 25%, they are wildly off. If you wanted to think about a bell curve that once it got to the very bottom, just started curving right back up for expected returns, that's what your expected variables would be in the stock market to some extent. And that's what we're seeing with Lumber Liquidators out here. You basically get into a self-feeding kind of critical mass of sellers, and there's just nothing you can do. Unsure what the news is. They are defending themselves, but they would defend themselves no matter what. Is the 60-minute piece a hit piece? Well, we've seen reporters tie explosives to the back of Pintos and Ford pickups before. So putting a little extra jelly and jam on the news story has never been anything that is new. Sometimes you get a lot of these people, you only find out later that it was a put-up job. Of course, some of the best books on Oprah were totally fake, or supposedly, how many books has she had that you come to find out it was all made up after the fact? But is it true? Is it false? There's probably an element of truth. Is it bad as they say? Probably not. And the question is, at what point does everybody just get so sold out on this that it has a wickedly fast bounce? Unknown, but down with even more volume than Friday and Thursday of last week, probably by the close. So not a whole lot new out here. See if there's anything else new on the Apple front and check in with what we have for the indexes real quick. Didn't like that at all. Apple's back to a buck under its highs, and of course, not affecting the broad index in the S&P as much as you would think. We're still up 6 or 7 points. Again, more important is going to be how Apple reacts on the first couple of days of shipping, because that tends to be a lot more. It's off a buck. Not a big deal, but certainly not up what a lot of people would think. And breaking these lows is still a problem. What else do we have out here? Let's see if we've got anything else. Well, I'm going to say the Apple deal looks like it's over, and no one got that one last thing to really make them think that things had changed. So let's start looking at some of the other stocks that were moving out here. Did I talk about everything on my list? I think so. April Gold ended today's session $2.40 higher, 11.66 in COMEX. March silver closed 2 cents lower at 15.79. Copper closed 6 cents higher at 2.67, which is probably the more important of all of those today. Let's see if we've got anything else out here. Of course, if anybody didn't notice today, we're probably going to take a couple of days to get used to the time change. And not just the time change here. There's 2 weeks in the spring and the fall where we don't coincide with the markets in Europe. They'll now be closing at 12:30 local time, Eastern time, instead of the normal 11:30 a.m. local time. And that's probably going to change a little bit of the character and put a little bit of the market back and move it back a little bit more. So to just be aware of that. That normally, I think in the spring is 2 weeks still. I think it's 2 weeks in the fall, 2 weeks in the spring. So just note that we're probably going to have a little bit more lethargic market until later in the afternoon, and probably not the lunchtime movement that we've had over the last couple of months. Other things, FTSE was down 0.5%, CAC was down 0.6%, and Italy was up 0.6. Greece off 4.2%, and that is basically trying to let the air out of the bubble. More Greek Euro news, and of course it's not any good. But it will sit there and bounce back and forth, gyrate until one day we just know what the inevitable is, and that is the Greeks leaving the EU. Some people say that the way a stock reacts to the news, of course, is more important than the news. And probably nothing more than McDonald's out here, which is actually up on a fairly horrible news day. Now, not a lot of volume out here. May have been a lot of people too short, but my guess is that they're hiding in the McDonald's sector, thinking that it will do a little bit better as prices and multinationals have more problem. Of course, you had the huge sign of strength on the 25th of February, 16.7.5 million shares back into it with light volume. And what can you say? It basically went about halfway into that candle. People started buying it. Not a lot of volume so far. And of course, the news is that comps are pretty much down. And I don't see that changing a great deal. Let's take a look at a few of the other stocks out here. Big Lots coming out with earnings beat by a penny. They're really coming into these gap downs, 1.7 million shares for the gap down of December 1st. And of course, we're up with about 1.5 million shares. Really what I'm looking for is this pretty much untested low back down to $38.15 and the huge sign of weakness back on the 5th of December, where this thing came down on just monstrously high volume. Now we're come back and we've kind of finished that. Frankly, there aren't too many stocks with more bearish patterns. But unfortunately, we're going to need the Mr. Market to be with us. And there's still too many people talking about a buyout in this company. I've done a little research on it. I'd love to short the stock, but I'm going to have to think about it a great deal before I pull the trigger on it. But when you look at the volume and the volume patterns back up to these highs, even today, you should be attacking these previous high back here at 51.75 with greater volume. My guess is you're going to want to look at that 51.75 getting tested. And at that point, maybe that's a signal. But interesting nonetheless. Best Buy, this thing's been kind of pounding away up here at these highs. My thought has been that the iWatch is going to come out. We're going to see that for sale in Best Buy. They're probably going to continue to see some decent comps compared to last year. But as soon as the iPhone business starts to wane a bit and the iWatch has its first month or two of shipping, we're going to probably see the fall off, inevitable fall off of iPhone shipment. And you're going to want to watch Best Buy fairly closely. Interesting, we've got about 4 dojis so far in a row for Best Buy. My guess is this is building up for some kind of movement, maybe higher or lower. I've been thinking that the S&P itself is more likely than not to have a gap up, fry some shorts, and give us a good and clean, unambiguous signal that we have a high. Would rather have a Wittenauer. Tag Heuer or a Rolex. I got a couple of Rolexes, but I never wear them. And in fact, very tough for me to wear anything, especially being in the electronics business. You always have to take off necklaces and rings, lest you get fried. No one wants to be in there destroying circuit boards. And never wore a ring. Wore a watch for a while, but still tough. Anyway, we'll be back in a moment to close up the show. I already see Tom O'Brien warming up in the bullpen for the next 2 hours.
Trade with confidence and clarity while using the software that thousands of institutional traders rely on to make the best and most accurate decisions. Choose from 1,000 equities, currencies, and futures instruments utilizing the TAS architecture. As seen on Bloomberg terminals worldwide, the TAS Profile Scanner is a benchmark technical filtering system that thousands of traders rely on, and now you can too. For a limited time for TFNN subscribers only, we've reduced the price to just $97. That's over 75% off. John Logan hosted a special subscriber-only webinar in December, and you'll gain access to that archive as well, so you can learn exactly what the TAS Profile Scanner can do for you. Try this product out. No matter what you trade, the TAS Profile Scanner can help you make more informed trading decisions. There's no obligation to pay anything. Don't let this offer pass you by. Get your 30-day free trial to the TAS Profile Scanner today by signing up at TFNN.com.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders, take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
I'm back, your loyal and aluminum foil helmet wearing host here at TFNN. Yes, I've got my aluminum foil helmet back on. It's the only way to keep the evil Jedis from telling me these are not the droids I want, and I should be buying an iWatch. But as I told you, it's more important to live in Realville than to have those Apple people filling your head with all kinds of thoughts. And of course, Apple right back to unchanged on the day after being up to 129.57. But aluminum foil helmets, they keep aliens and the Apple people out. So I would wear one every day to the market. But I'm pretty good at defending against the rest of them. The massive onslaught of Apple media, and basically a sycophantic media, is about that. But I do digress. Anyway, aluminum foil helmets, I recommend them highly. I think I'm safe to take it off now as the show progresses here.
You know what's cool? Taking something that's good for you. Something specifically formulated to help with weight loss, better sleep, stress reduction, and the need to detox.
Nico, our hunter and gatherer ancestors found all their nutritional requirements for health in their wild environment. But today, our food sources no longer contain the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients our bodies need to stay healthy and strong.
That's why we need Primal Edge Daily Nutrition. It includes a special blend of ionic, soil-based vitamins, minerals, fatty, and amino acids in an easy-to-use liquid form.
Primal Edge is powered by highly concentrated fulvic and humic acids, nature's preferred delivery system. They have been called miracle molecules because, like sunlight, air, and water, life cannot exist without them.
That's right, Paige. They ensure we receive all the nutrition we need to be healthy and thrive. We take it every morning.
Primal Edge, formulated and approved by Nico and Paige of Living a Primal Lifestyle. Buy it today for just $89. Click on the Primal Edge banner on the front page of TFNN.com. You're watching Tiger TV.